1, 2, 3. Hello, this is Ryan Riccatelli with asnews.net and the Kiteboarder Magazine, and we are in the Liquid Force booth with the designer of the kites, Julian Fillion. We've had him on the show before and interviewed him, so how's it going, man?
Very good. How about yourself?
Good. You know, tell us about some of these new kites that you guys have for 2009.
Yeah, for 2009, we have the Havoc that comes for a third year. We changed a lot of what the kite was from last year. We went in the direction that we're hoping to get a lot more riders on this kite. We really believe in it. It's an SLE kite, so it goes with all the other SLE on the market. But what's really unique about it, it brings out the unique liquid diamond wingtip. So unlike all the other SLE kites, it's not a round wingtip, it's a diamond wingtip. So it gives your kite a really good rigid feeling in the sky. And it works with a unique bridles as well. We're the only one using this kind of bridle. There's only one pulley, and it just all work really good together. It's a kite that is high performance, but also really easy to use. Like if you want to walk up the beach, you know, you don't have to look at your kite. You know where it is. You know, it's kind of, you're never stressed using this kite. But on the other hand, you want a really quick kite. You want it to have a great lift. And also really important, easy to relaunch. You know?
Yeah.
Like back in the days, it used to be like if your kite is high performance, it's hard to relaunch. It's not true anymore. You know, if it's high performance, it has to be easy to relaunch, because if it's high performance, that means people who ride it are trying new tricks every day, and they crash their kites a lot. You know, so they have to relaunch it a lot. So our bridles on all of our kites makes them really easy to relaunch. That's one feature that's really important to us.
Awesome.
So, and the Havoc, I mean, it's the high-end premium kite that we have. So it's really well built. It's using the highest end material that we have on the market. There's a lot of art on it. There's a lot of screening and printing. Many brands, they want to do less printing because it's expensive, and they do a lot of panel layouts, but many panel layouts bring a lot of trouble as well. So we try to keep it really low on the amount of panel layout that we have, so it's a really easy assembly, but we do a lot of printing, which give a really nice look to your kite.
Yeah, I gotta say, you guys have some sexy looking kites.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it on the nice looking side of things for sure.
Awesome.
And, you know, it works on a 1-to-1 bar. It's really low bar pressure. But this year, what was really important, many of the other brands, they just go like light bar pressure. But at one point, you don't know where's your kite in the air anymore because you can't feel it, right? So we came up with a way to have a bar feeling in your winders when you turn your kite. So when you turn your kite, you have those extra feeling in your winders that you know where's your kite during your turn. But when you just ride and cruise, it's really low bar pressure. But when you turn your kite, you have that extra feeling, so you always know where it is. So when you do wave riding, it's good because you don't have to look where's your kite. You always know where it is because you can have the feeling on your bar, you know, and where's your kite. That's
well, why don't you show us the new bar?
Yeah, let's go look at it.
And tell us what's changed.
So what has been changed for this year on the bar, we have a new quick release piece. It's extremely easy to use, so if you are in trouble, you can just pull on it. I'm sure everyone has had a look at the latest videos on the news about kiteboarders like flying around.
Yeah.
With a quick release like this, you just pull on it, and then you're not attached to your kite anymore, and it's just more of a, you stay safe, you know.
Nice.
And also we changed the aluminum piece in the middle of the bar has been changed. It's a lot smoother, so your main line lasts a lot longer than last year. You know, many brands which are using these kinds of main line, it's wearing out really quick. With ours, the aluminum piece in the middle of the bar is really smooth this year, so your main line will last a lot longer. And you know, it's a nice grip on the bar, and the idea with our control bar is to make it easy and clean. You know, that's the whole point behind the liquid axis control bar. We want it to be clean and easy. So you have your leash is attached to your harness, and it's attached to the mainline gear. A really nice feature that many people don't know about. All the other brands that has the cleat under the bar, when you ride with a lot of powers, you know, everybody rides their kite in too much wind.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, so it's always like dangling around in between your leg and it's smashing the face. At the end of bar main line, and that's really unique, you can plug it behind your chicken loop.
That's nice.
On the left or on the right, and that brings your main line up and also your leash. So you have nothing dangling between your leg. If you do crash, it will come out and then you will gain all the power you need, you know. So
That's a great feature.
That's really unique, and when people use that, they keep using it forever.
You also got a stopper ball if I can reach it.
Yeah, it's on the fly stopper piece. Of course, when you're near the beach and you're close to the beach, it's a good idea to keep it away from you. But when you're out there and you're riding, you can bring it lower so you can just cruise, you know, almost like not holding your bar. And we have a pulley here on top. It's our own pulley design, and it makes it really easy to adjust your main line, you know, because we have so much range with these kites now. All the adjustment is in the main line. You don't have to go back to the beach and change your knots anymore. It's all like in the water that it happens. So you play with the main line a lot. That's why we made it close to the rider, so under the bar, the adjustment. And it makes it really easy because of the pulley. It splits the load in half.
Nice. Why don't we talk about this kite?
Yeah, this session. So this year we changed this session quite a bit. We increased the wingspan on it, and we also removed, like last year we had a lot of panel layout in the leading edge, or more pieces in the leading edge assembly. And with this kind of kite, with a lot of depower, you know, and these kites, people bring them into extreme weather, you know, they really bring them to their limits all the time. So it was a good idea to reduce the amount of panel in the leading edge to make it really rigid. And we also moved all the strut to create a really strong platform on the kite, so when people do bring them into extreme weather, they won't be let down by their kites, you know. This kite is using a little bit cheaper material, which bring the retail price down a lot, and it was important to have a really affordable kite. This is the kite. The material, it's not weaker, it's really strong material, but throughout the years, it will kind of lose is a glossy look, you know, so the resale value is a little bit lower than the high-end, using high-end material on the high-end kites. But this one, I mean, you know, like students or people with a little bit less money, but once you get into the sport, you can totally buy a kite like that with great performance, but maybe a little bit less resale value through the years, you know, because of the material. But it's really strong, and there's a unique 2 layers leading edge assembly, you know, so only where you need it, you have 2 layers of backbone on the leading edge, which makes it bulletproof, you know, so when you crash it a lot, you won't have any problem with that.
Nice.
And again, on this kite, you know, the art has been researched a lot. There's a lot of work in the art, so we wanted to get people, you know, really happy about how their kites look, you know, like when you spend that much money on gear, you want it to look good and you want it to be in trend, you know, and to match your board. And so there's a lot of work in the art, you know. And on this kite again, there's less panel layout and more printing, which gives higher quality assembly on the kite.
And then we have the
hi-fi. Yeah, on this side we have the hi-fi and the hi-fi comp. What we did with the hi-fi this year, we bring the hi-fi back. It's a hybrid kite, you know, so there's an extra line in the middle, there's a fifth line. We made it appeal to a wider range of rider, you know, so the new hi-fi is more all around. It's really high performance, but it's more all around. There's great power, the relaunch is super easy, it's really well built, and you know, like everyone knows, the hybrid kite have that really direct feeling, you know. There's people who ride hybrid kite will ride them forever, you know, they won't go to bridles, you know, so when people like hybrid kites, they like a kite that responds right away, you know, and it's not a sea kite, you know, it's really important to understand. It's like there's a lot more power than a sea kite, there's a lot more power, the relaunch is a lot easier than a sea kite, you know, we can't call them sea kites anymore, they're not, you know, they depend on that extra line in the middle. The bridle has changed a little bit because the kite is a little bit flatter and there's wider wingspan. We added an extra split on the bridle, and that makes your kite like bulletproof in the sky and really rigid, you know. And that's so important with all our kites. We want our kites to be rigid in the air, you know. We don't like when the kite is all like fluffy, you know, and we just want it to be really strong in the sky. I mean, in the sky, and you have the feeling that what you're riding is right there with you, and it's not constantly changing. You know, you want to have that power to be equal like all along the day. You know. Yeah. And so what we did the last year, the Hi-Fi was more like the high-end premium freestyle kite. We made it more all around this year, so it's more it's to a wider range of people. So that's why we had to come with a comp version of the Hi-Fi, which is a narrower arc, higher aspect ratio. There's a great lift on the comp, and it's made for people who do a lot of kite loop tricks and want their kite to bring the power all along the kite loops. And even at the end, you know, like most of the kites on the market, at the end of the kite loops, your kite won't be going up anymore and you will crash like a rock in the water. The comp, the Hi-Fi comp, is designed to keep the power all along the kite loops and keep going at the end of your trick, so you have a little bit of lift, smooth landing, you know, at the end of your kite loops. And great lifts, and the art on it is just, you know, it's really amazing. It looks so good in the sky, and it has all the great quality that the normal Hi-Fi has. It's made for people who want more about the high-end freestyle kite. And again, it works hybrid with the extra line in the middle. Awesome.
You want to talk about your accessories real quick? Because you got some killer new harnesses. This is the new bad boy.
Yeah, the new bad boy here. You know, in the last 2 years, people know us for the luxury harness. It's been actually 3 years with the luxury harness. The luxury harness was made, like, to us, one of the most important piece of equipment that you have when you kiteboard is the harness, because the entire load of the kite goes through it, you know, and then it's linked to your body. So that's why we always work really hard on the harness, and we want them to be comfortable. That's like the main key that we want, you know. And this year with the comp, we based the comp design on the luxury. So it has like all the features, like for example the handle pass leash in the back has the quick release on it, and but those quick release now are a lot smaller because there's a molded track in the harness, which make it really easy to put the leash back. And on the luxury, it's a little bit bigger, so you know it's always there in your back. On this one, we make it a lot narrower, and we make the leash a lot narrower, but you can't really bring people back to the beach with this anymore. So imagine that one of your friend is losing his kite and you need to bring him back to the beach. You can't really alter this, so we included a retractable rescue handle on the back, you know, and it's only there when you need it. It's not like a big handle that's there for no reason. It's just there when you need to rescue your friends.
That's great.
That's really important. And your friends is holding to this, you bring him back to the beach, and then it's retracted to the inside of the harness, which is really important.
And this is all molded.
Yeah. The back is all molded, and it will bring the pressure all across your back. It's really important. And again, you have the great spreader bar,
real comfy,
pre-curve pad, really comfy. Even if it's climbing up your chest a little bit, it will grab the curve of your chest and it won't hurt you. And what's really cool feature, well, we have the quick release on the hook, which is really important, but if you can see here, all the attachment points of the hook are a lot lower on the harness, which brings your hook lower and prevent it from climbing up.
That's good.
And preventing it from climbing up. So yeah, that's
awesome.
Comp harness.
Good, man. That's what we wanted to check out, basically. Show us the board shorts real quick.
So, the board shorts. Last year the response on the board short was really good, so we brought it to the next level a little bit. What's really unique about the board short is that we have, of course, there's like a harness included into the board short, but we're the only one that has a real true look of a board short. So when you're done riding, if you want to just walk around on the beach and just hang out, you can remove the hook, because you don't want to walk with your hook, right? So you can just remove the hook and you just keep walking with your short. You can go dancing with your short if you want, you know. So you're going to be looking really good in your short, but your hook is going to be off, you know.
That's good.
And we added extra neoprene padding into the harness to make it extra comfortable. But many of the other brands have a lot of webbing everywhere, and you kind of look like a goofball wearing these. But the idea with this board short was to be in style at the same time that you wear a harness. So I think we managed to do it pretty good with this, you know.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time today, man, and it was good seeing you, and thanks for all the information on the kite.
Thank you so much.
All right. We got the legendary man himself, Jimmy Redmond. You're a hard guy to track down, Jimmy, but we got you.
Hey, pleasure to be here, you know. Kind of busy guy.
Yes, for sure, and this is your time to shine. So you're going to take us through some of the board line and what you've been up to and some of the ideas behind the shapes. So.
All right. Well, starting off the line, we have the Liquid Force Proofs, and new this year, we've added a 141 size to give us a great entry-level board for guys and girls. Comes in a 141 Diva and the Proof, along with a 51 and a 61 shape. Just a good all-around beginner board.
Awesome. And then we move into the recoils.
Now what's new for the recoils this year is they've been completely redesigned. What we wanted to do is completely re-engineer the deck geometry, give us a thinner profile, give the board a much livelier flex, and also reduce the weight on our high-end version. Now, the regular recoil is a PU core, and it comes in a 27, a 130, a 133, and a 136. The recoil comp is a machined PVC core. It's a thinner profile. It's a 2mm ABS sidewall, really lively flex, and it comes in a 128, 31, a 134, and a 137.
So what kind of riders are these boards more targeted for?
You know, everyone on the teams hopped on one of the recoils at one point and just really liked it. Just a good, predictable all-around
board. Awesome. I get.
So,
what else we got?
These are the auras for chicks.
Yeah. Oh, we can come just around.
Okay, you want to come around?
Yeah.
All right.
This is perfect, though, how we're doing it.
It's the same. With the success of the recoils, we wanted to also offer in a women's series, so that's what's up with the Aura. Same deal. We do a PU version as well as a Divinyl version. The women's series comes in a 28 and a 31 in the Divinyl cores, and a 27 and a 30 for the PU.
You guys even have women's bindings.
Yeah, what we found is one thing that we really have pushed hard in the wake part of it is not just putting a women's logo on a binding and calling it a woman's binding, but actually designing a different heel bed, or like changing the shape of the binding to fit the width of a woman's foot. And so we're doing the same thing in the kite line.
Awesome.
Because it's just, if the product fits them better, it's going to work better for them, they're going to be more stoked and just have a better time riding.
That's absolutely true.
Next. Where do we got to go? Concepts.
All right, concepts.
Funky how. What about your lighting?
If we can stand out here, we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even in that corner. Right there's good.
Have you talked
Oh, you're
at all?
good back there.
Okay, have you talked at all about any of the boots?
No.
Okay. So then, okay, I'll do this.
Where's you at?
All right.
Just keep rolling. Yeah, we'll edit.
So next up in the line, this is the pro model I worked on with Mauricio.
a nice looking board.
The Concept, and Mauricio's board comes in a 135 and a 139. What's really cool about Mauricio's board is he wanted to play with bottom contours. He didn't just want just a simple single concave, but he wanted a little more. So this one's got a really precise single to double concave with a double exiting out the tips. It gives the board just a lot of speed, a lot of flow, and just a super smooth ride. Also, this is a board where we first started working with rolling the edges more, playing with the shape of the ABS rail instead of just doing just a straight cut.
Line, yeah.
You know, we're working with a tapered ABS rail, getting thinner as we get to the tip, and radiusing it through the midsection just to give the board a more sensitive roll.
And what kind of rider is this for? Just the high-end pro?
Yeah, this is more of a performance. It's going to have this. You see, the Concept has more rocker than the recoils. So you know, this is going to be more in a wave application. And you know, this is Mauricio's all-around board. And, you know, living in Maui, he's in the surf with this board and just, you know, loves it. Now, what he wanted to do this year is he wanted to increase the amount, just have a wider offering on his board. So we did a limited edition version, and this is a machined Divinyl core. Gives it a lighter, you know, lighter weight, pulled a lot of weight. We're able to thin out the ABS from the PU version and just give it a more performance end. And then also a specialty board that we've done for Mauricio is a grind, and this is kind of sleazy inspired, Davey inspired.
Gee, I wonder why it's called the grind.
And what we've got is, you know, this has a P-Tech slider base.
That's awesome.
And you know, it's back printed, super durable, but still is able to maintain all the board contours. So, you know, it just adds a little bit of weight, but I mean, you know, if you're going to some of the rail jams, this is a board that's going to be able to hold up.
Yeah.
And stand the punishment.
Why don't you talk real quickly about the boot bindings?
Yeah, now I wanted to show you, this is a new This is one of the new boot bindings we've come out for a kite. And you know, what we've done is we've taken some of the things we've learned making wake bindings, but then also just the ease of wanting to get in. You know, you having a hands-free, no soap, just slide in, and applying that into a boot binding for a kite. This is the Synergy, and the deal about the Synergy is you've got just
super easy to get into.
Super easy to get into. Really flexible outsole, and it's just a real comfortable fit. One hand to cinch it tight, and off you go.
Nice. Look like they're pretty padded up too.
Yeah, super comfortable, you know, orthotic footbed, the whole bit. You can, you know, also do a little bit of heel-toe centering depending on the size of your foot. You know, just having it in center isn't necessarily always the, if you want a little extra heel side pressure, you can adjust the plate and get that. Or if you got a big foot, you know, and you got some drag, you can slide your foot forward so your heel's not out too far. And just really dial in where you want your edging to be.
Nice. Is that it?
I got one more.
All right. One more board.
New one.
All right. This one. Oh man, look it. We've got the man himself, Jason Slezak.
How you guys doing?
Introducing his board.
I got Jimmy's latest masterpiece right here. This was my first viewing of it today. Jimmy just got back from Dubai.
Yep. So the deal with Jason's board is, you know, his previous pro model, the Mission, had a lot of really cool features in it, but one thing it didn't have is it didn't have, you know, the flexy, lively spring of an ABS sidewall board with a thin profile, but it had, you know, deep contours in the bottom, a really you know, precise and deeper and more exaggerated single to double concave than on Mauricio's, edge channels, and then a variable edge rail where it was really pronounced and rolled through the middle, getting progressively sharper as it gets to the tip. And what we did is we took all those things that were in the Mission, adjusted the rocker to be more appropriate for this kind of ABS board, and then redesigned a thin profile top to just reconfigure the whole board into a whole new shape, where you have really defined bottom contours with crisp edges, crisp edge channels, and then a variable edge rail, just to all having a package that's just insane.
What do you got to say about it? What was your idea and when you're trying to communicate that to Jimmy and making this board?
You know, the one thing when we went to, you know, ABS sidewall boards was, at first was limited on what Jimmy was saying, like the bottom contours, the rails, what we were able to do with them. And the past few years, every single time that I've seen Jimmy, it's been like, can we do a rounded rail? Can we do bottom contours? And you know, he worked super hard to get the concept going and was able to start doing that. And we kept talking, and you know, he kept, every time he would go, he would figure out some new process of a way to do it. To where basically I saw he sent a board over of a prototype of a wakeboard and had, you know, the exact rail we had been talking about for a while, and you know, a lot of the different contours that were unable to be done before. You know, and we just brainstormed a bunch, phone, email, whatever. And this past trip to Dubai, you know, like I said, this is the first time I've seen this, but you know, was able to do everything that we talked about in taking all the good characteristics from the mission and then putting it into an ABS board that actually has good flex, you know, has kind of the characteristics that all the kiteboards are going to, but still kept everything from the mission that I've, you know, stood behind and really believed in for a while. So I'm super stoked.
The influence, that's what it's called. The influence.
And you know, I'll tell you, it's like the name couldn't be more appropriate, because what's really cool, I'll tell you, what's the hardest thing is having to stop and having to let go.
Yeah.
And go, okay, this board's done, you know, let's turn it into a hard tool, let's make boards. And you know, I know Tony wants products so they can sell, but the thing is, you know, the hardest thing is to stop designing.
Yeah.
We're not in a bubble. Like, everything we're doing over there in wake is affecting kite, but everything we're doing in kite is affecting wake. And it's like, there's such a cross-pollination.
That's
and
good.
Like, the first board I did with Jason, the influence, the first board I did with Jason, the mission, he needed a thinner rail profile, but you know, in order to do that, it made me come up with a different kind of rail that was just, it worked unreal for the mission, but it was like, it was something that was missing in wake. So like now, one of our top selling wakeboards, the Trip, the rail idea and the whole way that works and the whole way the deck contours all flow together came from Jason's mission.
That's awesome.
And then, you know, an idea that came out of wake where, oh, these guys wanted to play with these boards for rails, ended up being the kind of board we needed for Jason, you know, for the rail jams. And they were like, well, why can't, and they would see something in wake, go, why can't we do that in kite? It's like, well, you know what, there's no reason we can't. So we do it, you know, then we get that board out there, then we do a board in kite. And the wakeboarders see it and they're like, well, why can't we have a board that thin? So then that pushes us to do molded in contours and start, you know, integrating, we're calling them hybrids in our wake line, because we're taking everything that was a conventional wakeboard for us with all the shaped in contours and molded in fins and integrating that in a kiteboard construction with ABS walls. So, I mean, the influence is just the beginning of a long line of the evolution of what our boards are going to be. And this is just the start.
That's great.
Ryan, you actually got to see Jimmy shaping that first mission, if you remember, in the shaping room, and that was the first time he and I had really worked together on a project like that. You know, and since then it's just been cool to have his feedback about how it's transferred over into wake, and like he said, like it really does kind of a domino effect. Like we'll do something with kite, and then the next thing you know, he's saying how it's affected wake, and then vice versa. And it's just been great to be able to kind of have both sports
pushing each other,
technologies bounce off of each other,
teaching each other.
Yeah.
And it's been really sick to, you know, just to see the evolution of how he and I've worked together and the wakeboarders that he works with, and you know, Mauricio and all the other guys, and just having it, you know, come out into producing products that are so good.
Awesome. Hey, real quickly before we go, take us through these straps. Jace, you're the pro on the straps, so.
Yeah, we've had, you know, the strap we have here, which is the luxury strap. You know, it's been around for a few years. It's super wide, super cush. We've got the footbeds, which have, you know, low density foam, just gives you a little bit more comfort, a little bit more padding. We've got air pockets in the footbeds, you can see here. on the sides. You know, this is one of our luxury pads, which has been carried over and is a great foot strap and pad. Above that.
And then also too, we didn't talk about this board.
We didn't talk about this board too.
All right.
Yeah, what we have is and these are the straps. You know, I ride bindings a lot of the time, but if not, I tend to ride the comp straps. These things are amazing. It has the same dual density foam for the footbed. The plastic underneath is a plastic that literally will not break. You can bend the thing in half, you can twist it, which has been a good upgrade from a few years back. Still has the air pocket in the sole, or you know, just the kind of Nike Air style. But the straps themselves are pretty amazing. You can pretty much get any size foot in them. You know, I've got size 13 skate shoes, which I can fit into a strap here. And then I can take the same like size 4 or 5 woman's foot or a kid's foot, and the same exact strap, you know, without really any adjustment, no screws or anything, get it to where it's super small and super tight. So like switching from booties to no booties to any, you know, schools and different things like that, it's awesome because you can fit a variety of sizes in. And even just, you know, there are days when you're more powered up and may want to ride them tighter, less powered may want to ride them looser, you know, you can just instantly change it up. Cool little magnet here, keeps the strap in place, you know, the string in place when you're not using it. And you know, all matches as far as handle, foot strap, foot pad, and that's the comp straps.
That's awesome. Now, why don't you tell us about this board?
Okay. Well, the WLF is our, you know, this is our light wind board, but I mean, I just wasn't happy shaping a door because there's really no work in making a door. So, I mean, it's definitely got a much lower rocker than any of the other boards in the line, but still something, you know, that will let you perform. I mean, it's not just a flat plank. Nice outline. Actually, you know, Jason's board is kind of a race car version of a WLF with a more pinched in tip, so even, you know, our lighter wind board has performance characteristics. It's got a nice single concave through the middle, and we do it, same thing, we do it in the PU version and a machine Divinyl version with a thinner profile just to reduce the weight.
Awesome. What size does that come in?
This one comes in a 45 and a 140.
Nice.
And the the WLF too, you have, like Jimmy mentioned, you have you know, it's not just a door, it's not just a flat board, like it actually performs well, it carves turns well.
Hey, what's wrong with doors? I'm just kidding.
So we have guys riding them with boots, you know, like bigger guys riding them with boots in lighter wind areas and loving them, so it's awesome to have a light wind board.
Well, you know what's awesome is having you guys here to tell us about this product. Hey, thanks for your time. I know today has been like crazy for you, and Jason, it's always a pleasure to see you, and we'll get this up online today, get some people some...
Thank you.
All right, bro. Thank you.
All in